Hey guys, so I hope everyone is having a very safe Easter and spring. I know it's all crazy right now, but today I'm going to be talking about vaccinations, which are kind of a controversial topic lately, but also a really important one that I feel like needs to be touched on. So as a kid, I know we all remember going to the doctor and dreading having to go get a shot and stuff like that, which even for today, some of us may still have to go get vaccinations, whether it be for booster shots and stuff like that. But the real scary thing is what happens if we're not getting our vaccinations. So also I want you guys to know that there's a lot going on with anti-vaccinators. It's kind of a big deal right now. I know you guys are aware that there's laws in place or school requirements where all of us have to have a list of vaccinations before we attend a public school or even a private school. But the thing is, those are very loose and there's ways to get around those vaccinations and you can get all these waivers. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that today, but I'm also going to talk about the history of the vaccines, why they're so important, but I also want to touch on why people have stopped vaccinating and what it is causing in our society today. So to start off, I'm going to cover some of the history and the importance of vaccinations. And to start off, vaccinations date all the way back to 1796. And according to Michael Kenneth, who is an author of Between Hope and Fear, he explains how Edward Jenner had been the first to create and coin the term vaccine through his work with smallpox. So smallpox was a disease that happened way back when, that people used to transfer back and forth between their cattle. But basically what he did is this young boy had a lesion that was on his hand and it was swelling and it was infected. So he took some of the smallpox vaccine from the cattle and he injected it into this boy's hand, and from there all the swelling went away and everything cleared up. And so he was the first person to create the smallpox vaccine. And actually since then, according to CNN, since 1976, this vaccine or this disease has been eradicated. As well, today, even though that was the first vaccine created, we look at today, the CDC has also said that there are now 26 vaccines that we are currently using on a day-to-day basis for our children and ourselves to keep everyone healthy today. Vaccines are also important because according to the article, Conscious Vaccination Exemptions in Kindergarten to 8th grade children across Texas schools from 2012 to 2018, regression analysis, sorry, that's kind of a long name. In the US alone, children's vaccinations prevent an estimated 42,000 deaths a year and 20 million cases of disease annually, saving nearly $69 billion in total societal costs. So vaccines are not just saving our children and preventing a lot of deaths, but they're also saving the economy a lot of money, which is really, really important because when people get sick, it costs a lot of money to have to go to the doctor, spend money on medications and cures and all that stuff. So having these vaccines are preventing people from ending up in the healthcare system and keeping them away from having to spend all those US dollars. And then, also with the vaccines, they're help eradicating a lot of diseases. So if you don't know what eradicating means, it means they're completely gone away and not coming back. And so thanks to vaccines, a lot of diseases are not around today like they used to be in the US, like polio and smallpox. And so thanks to those vaccines, we're protecting not only our current generation, but also our future generations and our children and our grandchildren, which are extremely important. So I know you're wondering, if vaccines are so amazing, so helpful, then why are people stop vaccinating their children? It all comes back to this used to be doctor, Andrew Wakefield. He performed this whole study and this whole case along with some of his colleagues about the MMR vaccine, which is measles, mumps, and rubella, and how apparently that was associated with autism. He was actually paid by a company who was trying to sue a vaccine company, and he didn't explain that in his research, which was really important. That was a huge information that he missed out on, so that alone was not okay that he didn't state that, but it caused a lot of scare in a lot of parents and healthcare workers and just a lot of controversy because of course he was a doctor, so people wanted to believe this research was true. It was later debunked, so of course MMR vaccine does not cause autism. I hope you all know that if you don't know that now, but that thought still lingered in a lot of parents' minds and it scared them a lot, so people stopped giving their children that vaccine, which is horrible. But there's also another reason why people have stopped vaccinating their children, and that is due to religious reasons. So according to the article, The Anti-Vaccination Movement, A Regression in Modern Medicine. It explains that the MMR vaccine combined with the rubella vaccine, which there's two different ones, originally derived from the cells of aborted fetal tissue. And so there are some religions such as Muslim, Judaism, Protestant, and Hindu who are generally against the idea of abortion. So that alone makes them kind of want to waiver their rights and not vaccinate their children because of that. But then there's also Christianity, who a lot of them believe that getting vaccines is an appropriate meddling in the work of God. So since people have started to stop vaccinating, there's been a lot of outbreaks happening recently. And so that's what I'm going to talk about now, is how that has made a huge impact on our society and what is so bad with those outbreaks that are happening. So a lot of you may know that the measles have been something that has been really common lately. And unfortunately, that was once a very slow moving, or like a very controlled disease at the time, but now it has been having really bad outbreaks. So there was a really famous one that happened back in 2014 and 2015 at a Disneyland resort in California, and it resulted in about 125 people contracting the disease. And so that was a huge outbreak from the beginning as well. And then also, I know we remember at the U of A just this past year in 2019, where all of us were scared of scared of the measles. So there was 37 cases total that were confirmed at the University of Arkansas, but we were getting those emails from Pat Walker saying, don't go out, don't go to your classes if you are feeling sick, or you're getting a notification if people have it that are in one of your classes. And then also one other thing is the flu vaccine. So even though it's not a required vaccine, the flu outbreaks every single year, and maybe if people would stop vaccinating, it wouldn't cause that much of an outbreak. And lastly, this right here is a chart of reported measles cases in the United States from 2010 all the way up to 2019. As you see, for a little while, it was under control, but it skyrocketed, and then back again, it has been skyrocketing a lot, and these are all the states that have been impacted according to the CDC. So as I wrap up my speech, I want you guys to remember what I talked about. So I talked about the history of the vaccines, why they're important, and then also why people have stopped vaccinating, whether it be for religious reasons or false information or personal opinions, and what it has caused since then. And just remember what it could do for yourself and your future children. So remember, when you go to get that needle, the actual meaning behind it, not the scare of actually getting poked. Thank you.